So we're going to put the floor framing in now. And this is kind of what it would look like. You have your floor joist. One end of the floor joist is supported by the wall. And if the span is too great or longer than, say, 20 feet, then we put support midway. So if you go back to your structural classes, and we have a beam coming across that has a uniform load, or maybe there is a concentrated load, but there's a load, and those loads get supported on the ends by, in our case, it might be an exterior wall, or it might be an interior wall, or another exterior wall. And then that beam spans across and it takes all of these loads and it distributes them over to the supports. So what we want to do is put in a beam or a floor joist in our house that spans across from one side to the other. For example, I put that, well, we can look at the structure. Let's look at the second floor. It should be there. And sure enough, it is. Let's change the display to fine. So I put this beam, it spans across. Maybe this helps. And we'll hide the ceiling. Okay, these are light fixtures. These are the cabinets below. You can see that beam, the floor joist goes all the way across and it rests on the wall below. Let's go back to hidden line. Well, we're still not seeing. It doesn't, the outside edge of this is, of course, the gypsum board. Still can't see it. But that's approximately where it would be. But it spans across like that. And if we look at it in 3D, it kind of looks like that. It's going to rest on this wall and the outside wall. So if I were to expand that, you can, if I expand this a little bit more, you can see, let's turn that off so that we're not confused by the ceiling. But let's just take our crop region, or you can see we have one in there and it spans across from resting on this wall to resting on this wall. So if we take a look at our I think maybe I didn't save it yet. So anyway, that's the well, that's not doing it either. I have another drawing. So let's take a look at the floor plan. So in that view, I drew a beam across here, a floor joist, just across here like that, straight across. And what I'm suggesting is that this is a bearing wall. So the floor joists are going to rest on that. And I'm going to just draw some lines in there to represent the span of the floor joists. And we can see that they'll rest on the outside. And maybe I'll change the load bearing to here so it spans just a little bit farther. But that's the idea for the how we would want to frame this second floor so that it rests on two parts. Let's see. So this will, let's see. This is a load-bearing wall, and this is a load-bearing wall. So that's going to be the two ends that support the span of the floor joist. So let's go to Revit. Let's go, now we're going to go to the second floor structure. And let's see, VR for view range, where are we? Okay, so we're 6 inches below the second floor, so we should be able to see it. And we're going down 4 feet below, so that probably is okay. Now, I want to see exactly where the gypsum board is, and we'll make this a little bigger because I'm going to put a structural system in now. We're working in the structural plans, second floor. We're going to draw the structure for the second floor. So we go to the structure tab and we say beam system. And now what are the constraints of the beam system? Well, it would be 3/4 of an inch below the second floor. Why? Because we have 3/4 inches of plywood on top of that. So we want the top of the floor joist to be 3/4 inches below. We're saying we want it to be 2x12s. Okay, that's fine. And the spacing, 16 inches, which is typical. So we can draw a line. We're going to, and it would go right up to the inside face of the plywood, which is up there. And I'm not getting it exactly, so I'll have to go back in and align it. We're going to come down to here, to here. I guess I could have said offset by 1/2 inch because that would be the thickness of the gypsum board. So I have to go back in and clean that up a little bit, but we're drawing. None of these are snapping to where I want them to snap. So I'll have to go back in and clean it up. All right, so that looks good, that looks good. This one doesn't look good. I'm gonna use the align tool to align it to that, but it still needs to go back another 1/2 inch. So I'm gonna move it from where, anywhere on the screen I click, use my mouse to show the direction and type 0.5 inches. Because it doesn't rest on the gypsum board, it rests on the inside face of the gypsum board. Same thing here. I got sloppy, so I'm hitting the tab key to select. I guess it is right there. So we'll move it back 1/2 inch, move down this time, using the mouse to show the direction and the keyboard to type in the distance. Same thing here. I'm just going to move it back 0.5 inches. This didn't quite line up, so I'll use the align tool to select that. That I want it to hit right up against the plywood. And the same thing here, I want it to line up with the plywood. Now, I want the floor joist to span side to side, meaning left to right. And these double lines right here show the direction that the floor joists are going to span. And so that looks good to me too. So I think if I wanted to change the beam direction, I would click this button and then select this. And now you see the double lines are this way. That means the floor joist would be going top to bottom or front to back. But I don't want that. I want the floor joist to go side to side. Then we'll just hit the green check mark. And there's my floor joist. There's my floor system now. Let's take a look at that in 3D. What did we do? Look at this. Let's see if we can isolate that category. So all we're seeing are the walls. There's the floor joist. You can see how they're spaced 16 inches apart. let's select all instances visible in view, and let's hide element. Maybe we can see it, and you can see it a little bit better now. See how that spans across there? So this rests on this wall, and these rest on the wall that I just have hidden. But that's our floor joist. That's how we want to start out our floor joist. So let's go back to the second floor structural plan, and you can see, let's go to consistent colors. It didn't really help much. But you can see now my floor joist span all the way across, and that's what we're going to use to support the that part of the the house. So that would be step one. We'll show that. We'll stop right here. And then step two, we're going to change the direction of the floor joists so that they go front to back over here. But that's a good beginning to framing your second floor plan.